Hi yogis, and welcome to this active leg day yoga. This is going to be a very dynamic and active class where we're really going to be focusing in on strengthening and challenging the body, particularly the legs. So this is still a beginner-friendly class, although I'll be using less cues, less placement cues, but I will be giving some variations for some of the more challenging poses. So to get straight into today's class, we're going to come to a tabletop position, bringing the knees below the hips, hands below the shoulders. And again, if you find this to be too much stress on your wrists, please feel free to bring the hands slightly forward, about a palm print in front of you, and that should relieve some of the pressure that you feel on your wrists. So to begin, we're going to start off by stretching out the hamstrings, just waking them up a little bit. And so stretching out the left leg long behind us, we're going to come onto the ball of our foot, and feel like you're trying to place your heel or push your heel towards the back wall behind you, shifting your weight into that heel until you feel a nice stretch in your hamstring. Almost as if you're trying to bring it towards the floor. And releasing, and doing the same on the right hand side, coming to the ball of the foot, bringing that weight into the heel. Imagining like you're trying to place the heel onto the floor or the back wall. Not stretching it too much, we don't want to strain the hamstrings, but just feeling that slight little stretch. And releasing. And again on each side, coming onto the left foot. And releasing. And again on the right hand side. And releasing. Tucking both of the toes underneath us, we're going to come to our first downward facing dog of the day. Pedaling those feet, waking up the hamstrings. If it feels nice to rock your hips left to right, I like to make this a full body experience. Alternatively, another way to wake up the hamstrings is to bend and stretch the legs at the same time. Whichever you prefer. Hands settling down that movement, coming to a downward facing dog. On your next breath in, we're going to bring the right knee to the chest and stepping the right foot to the outside of the right hand, and doing the same on the left hand side so that your toes are kind of hanging off the edge of your yoga mat. We're going to come into Malasana or yogi squat. So just to show you what that looks like from the front, we've got our toes hanging off the edges of the mat and settling down into a squat. So to go back to where I was, we're going to come into a Malasana forward fold flow. So bringing the hands to the mat in front of you, breathing in, coming into a forward fold. And breathing out, coming back to Malasana. Breathing in again, coming to a forward fold, trying to stretch out the legs. And coming back to Malasana. And one last time, straightening out the legs as much as you can. And staying in a forward fold, we're going to start heel toeing the feet together, coming to a regular forward fold. Keeping as much of a bend in the legs as feels comfortable while still feeling the stretch of the forward fold. On your next breath in, we're going to roll up the spine, coming to standing, giving everything a nice big shake. We're going to breathe in and bring the arms up towards the sky. We're going to settle into a chair pose, so bending the legs, pretending like there's a little chair that you're trying to sit on behind you, and keeping the spine nice and straight with the arms up above the head. And standing up, on your next breath out, coming back to a forward fold, breathing in, halfway lift, breathing out, coming back to a forward fold, and breathing in, rolling up the spine, coming back to standing, breath out, coming back to chair pose. Holding here for 2 breaths. On your next breath in, standing up again. Breath out, forward fold. Breathing in, straightening the legs, coming to a halfway lift. And breath out, coming back to forward fold. Breathing in, rolling up the spine, coming to standing, and coming back to a chair pose again. Feeling that fire burning in your thighs. On your next breath in, we can drop the arms and shifting the left leg behind us, coming into a high lunge. So keeping a bend in that right leg, keeping the left leg straight behind us and breathing the arms back up towards the sky. We're going to shift all of our weight to the right foot, so coming into Superman. So it's exactly what it sounds like. We're pretending like we're flying like Superman does. And shifting the weight to your standing leg so that your back leg almost feels like it's weightless. We're going to come to a few Superman pulses. So just lifting the leg as high as feels comfortable. We're going to go 5 times. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and settling down, coming back to a high lunge, straightening out the leg if that feels nice. And coming back to a high lunge. So from here, we're going to shift the weight forward again, coming into warrior 3. So if it feels nice to drop the arms either side of you, shifting that weight back to warrior 3 again, making that leg weightless, but this time keeping it hovered above the ground. If this is too much, just come back to a Superman. And we're going to pulse on the other leg this time. So keeping the leg raised or on the floor for a less challenging variation, we're going to go 1, bending the front leg, 2, 3, 4, and 5, bringing the foot back down to the earth. We can slide the foot back up to meet the other one, coming back to standing, shaking it all out. That right leg just did a lot of work. So I'm going to come stand to the other side so that you can see me a little bit better. And breathing in, coming back to a chair pose. This time breathing the right leg out behind us, coming into a high lunge. And breathing in, coming to Superman again. We're going to do those pulses on the right-hand side this time. So making that back leg weightless, let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Coming back to a high lunge, giving your legs a little bit of a break. And coming to warrior 3, dropping those arms next to us, bringing that weight into the front leg again, making that back leg weightless and lifting it to the sky. And doing our warrior 3 pulses. Let's go. 1, 2, trying to keep that balance. 3, 4, and 5. You can bring that back leg back down to the earth. Oh, I just lost my balance there. And bringing the feet together, coming back to standing and shaking it all out. And if it feels nice to quickly take a forward fold, breathing the arms up to the sky and releasing down to a forward fold. Breathing in, coming to a halfway lift, straightening the legs, and breathing out, coming back to a forward fold. Breathing in, bringing the arms up towards the sky and settling into chair pose for just a moment. We're going to slide that right leg back behind us again, coming into a warrior 2, so dropping that back foot behind us. We're going to come facing the front of the mat, or the side of the mat rather. We're going to come to a wide-legged stand with our toes pointing out to the front and back of the mat. We're going to come into a bit of a goddess flow here. So bringing the arms either side of us. Every time we bend down, we're going to bring the arms up to either side. And when we breathe out, coming back to standing, we'll drop the arms below us. So we're going to do that 10 times, dropping into goddess and breathing out, coming back to standing. So here we go. Breath in, down to goddess, and out, standing. 2, and standing. 3, 4, 5, halfway there, 6, and 7, 8, 9, and 10, and we're gonna hold this for a count of 10. So keeping a bend in those legs, keeping nice and strong. Gonna go 9, 8, 7, 6, you got this, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We can release, coming back to standing, giving that a nice shake. So on our next breath in, we're going to bend the left leg all the way down to the ground, coming onto the heel of the right foot and pointing the toes towards the sky, coming down into Skandasana. If your left heel doesn't reach the mat, that is quite all right. I know mine definitely doesn't. Bringing the hands to heart center or leaving them down on the mat, whichever one's more comfortable. It's definitely more challenging to have them up at heart center. We're going to breathe in, coming through center, and breathing out and coming into Skandasana on the right-hand side. And again, breathing in, coming through center, and out, back to the left. And breathing in again, coming to the right-hand side, feeling a stretch in the left groin. And one more time each side, so coming back to the left. Breathing in, coming through center, and coming to Skandasana on the right. We're going to turn over the right shoulder, coming onto the ball of our left foot and keeping the right foot on the outside of the palms, bringing the knee down to the earth and coming to lizard. We can shake or sway side to side if that feels nice. Feeling a nice stretch in the left hip flexor. And just holding here for a couple breaths. If you're wanting a bit of a deeper stretch, dropping down to elbows and holding that there. Otherwise, staying up on hands. That's where I'm going to be staying for now. On your next breath in, tucking those back toes and lifting the knee off the floor, bringing the right leg back behind you and coming to a downward facing dog. Breathing in, bringing the left knee to the chest and coming to lizard on the other side. So stepping the left foot outside the left hand, coming to a stretch on the other side. Dropping down to elbows if that feels nice for you today, if you're wanting a bit more of a deeper stretch. Or staying up on hands if you're feeling that the stretch is more than enough for you today. Rocking side to side if that feels nice. And on your next breath in, tucking those back toes behind you, lifting the knee off the floor and coming back to a downward facing dog. On your next breath in, bringing the right knee into the chest, coming into pigeon, so settling that knee behind the right wrist and the ankle behind the left wrist. Remembering to keep those toes pointed. We don't want to be causing any unnecessary stress to the knee. And if having the leg kind of parallel to the top of the mat is a bit too much, just bringing that leg into the groin will make it a little bit easier, a lot more pleasant. Staying up on hands or dropping down to elbows, or even bringing your head down to the mat, whichever variation is the most comfortable for you today. And just breathing here. Staying here for 2 more breaths. And on your next breath in, coming back up if you had your head down on the mat, tucking those back toes and lifting the knee off the floor, coming back to a downward facing dog. And on your next breath in, bringing the left knee to the chest, settling into pigeon on the other side. So bringing the knee behind the left wrist and the ankle behind the right. Staying up on hands again if that feels nice, dropping down to elbows, or even bringing the head to the mat, whichever variation you enjoyed last time. Just relaxing here, remembering that the deeper we breathe, the easier the posture becomes. So really focusing in on that breath. On your next breath in, coming back up onto your hands, tucking that toe, and coming back to a downward facing dog. We're going to bring the knees down to the mat, coming into a seated position, bringing the legs out long in front of us. We're going to bring the left foot into the groin, kind of making a figure four with the legs, and coming into a seated forward fold. So breathing the arms up, keeping the spine nice and straight, hinging from the hips, not from the back, and aiming to get towards your foot. Once you feel that your hamstrings are at their capacity, dropping the hands to either the foot, the ankle, the calf, even down to the mat, wherever feels comfortable for you today. Keeping those toes pointed towards the ceiling so that we get that activation in our hamstrings. And breathing here. And releasing, extending both legs out long, giving them a nice little shake, and bringing the right foot into the groin, making a figure four on the other side. Breathing the arms up to the sky and hinging from the hips. Reaching towards the foot, and again, bringing the arms down whenever you're at your max. If we can't reach the foot, that is perfectly okay. That's not the aim of a forward fold. A forward fold is just there to help us release some of the tightness in our hamstrings. And staying here for one more breath. Don't forget to breathe here. Again, the more we breathe, the easier the pose becomes. I find this one particularly challenging. And staying here for one more breath. And coming back up, extending that other leg out long and shaking it all out. We're going to roll all the way down to the mat, bringing our back flat to the mat, keeping the legs pointed towards the ceiling. It's bringing the heels slightly in towards your bum. We're going to bring all of that weight into the heels, planting them firmly into the ground, keeping the hands either side of you for extra support. We're going to start peeling the spine off of the floor, lifting the hips towards the sky, and keeping those glutes nice and strong, so squeezing them. Keeping your core nice and strong and holding your bridge and lowering back down to the ground. And we're going to do that 2 more times. So again, breathing in, lifting the hips towards the ceiling, keeping those glutes nice and strong. And releasing. And one more time, bringing those hips towards the ceiling again. Feeling strong in your bridge, weight in your heels. Keeping your core nice and strong. And relaxing down to the ground. Bringing the knees towards the chest, giving yourself a nice little hug. We're going to bring the feet up towards the ceiling, gripping onto them with our hands. So gripping onto either the inside or the outside of your feet. Either way doesn't matter. Coming in to happy babies. I like gripping onto the inside of my feet. So we're trying to pull the knees almost towards the armpits, feeling a nice stretch in the groin. Rocking from side to side here. We want to try and keep our spine on the floor as much as possible. And if you want one more little hamstring stretch, bringing the peace fingers, hooking over the big toe. And one at a time, we're going to stretch out the right leg. And releasing, maybe the left leg. And releasing, and if it feels nice to try both at the same time, remembering to try and keep that spine on the floor, coming into a nice last hamstring stretch here. And releasing that happy baby, or coming back to happy baby. And bringing the feet together and releasing out long, giving your body a nice big stretch. Staying here for as long as you would like. If you would like to stay here longer, feel free to throw the video on pause. Otherwise, rolling onto your side, coming back to a seated position. Thank you so much for joining me for another yoga flow today, yogis. I really hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more future videos, and I can't wait to do more yoga flows with you in the future. I hope you have a beautiful day today.